Alright, first and foremost, a brief introduction to North Cascades National Park in Washington. North Cascades is a 2 million acre wilderness filled with jagged peaks, melting glaciers, abundant wildlife, and some of the most amazing scenery I've experienced in my life. Also, it's probably the most underrated national park out there. Because the scenery is really only available to those who get out of their car and onto the trail, much of this park has remained a pristine landscape to behold. The hike we chose to tackle, thanks to asking a park ranger, is possibly the most popular hike in the park. According to many, Cascade Pass to Sahale Arm sums up everything the North Cascades has to offer, and I can absolutely see why. A disclaimer: at 12 miles round trip, this is a strenuous full-day hike, so be sure to have plenty of daylight and snacks before you begin. Even as you begin your trek up toward Cascade Pass from the trailhead, towering pinnacles surround you while the rush of glacial meltwater fills the air. As with many hikes in the North Cascades, you are introduced to steep climbs from the get-go. In this case, 30-some switchbacks that just don't quit. After 2.7 miles of non-stop uppity-doo-dah, you emerge from the trees and begin your way much more gradually toward Cascade Pass. After about a mile, you'll reach Cascade Pass and its verdant-hilled and snow-capped peak wonder. This is the passage through which Native Americans traveled these mountains years ago, and more recently fur trappers and gold prospectors. Neat! This is also the turnaround place for most hikers, understandably so. But after a quick snack, we continued on our way towards Sahale Arm. Once we started climbing through craggly scree and grassy meadows, the amazing scenery began to become even more dazzling. After about 3/4 of a mile from Cascade Pass, you'll arrive at a lofty 6,000 feet in elevation. Here you'll get an all-encompassing view of Sahale Mountain with its eponymous glacier, as well as Doubtful Lake below, the terminus of the many silvery glacier meltwater rivulets from 3,000 feet above. The following section of trail stays level, giving you ample opportunity to drink in the divine landscape. Further still, the trail picks up in steepness, granting you extraordinary views of the ominous Forbidden and Torment peaks as they loom over Quien Sabe Glacier. Fun fact: the exposed rock of the North Cascades is approximately 400 million years old and is much harder and durable than its volcanic counterparts in the south. Because they are so resilient, heavy erosion from ice and water have only made their towering spires more rugged and unforgiving in appearance. Once we attained the ridgeline of Sahale Arm, we took some time to enjoy the wildlife thriving in this alpinous environment. We were surprised to see ptarmigans, hoary marmots, you heard me, and ground squirrels thoroughly enjoying the extreme exposure and elevation. Are they having a standoff? My money's on the squirrel. After observing this mountainous menagerie, we briefly began climbing towards Sahale Glacier Camp, only to realize we had to turn back in order to make it down the mountain before nightfall. With nearly 6 miles ahead of us, we about-faced and began heading back down the mountain. And by gosh, by golly, can you believe that view? Heading down the trail presented an entirely new perspective of the formidable Cascadian peaks in all of their pinnacled glory. So down we went as the setting sun illuminated the swaying wildflower fields with the sneezy high-pitched peeps of rock pikas in the distance. We passed through Cascade Pass once more, before ultimately reaching the final, rather insufferable, switchbacks back to the trailhead. I hope you enjoyed this hike in North Cascades National Park. Until next time, happy trails!